All right, guys, just me and then you get to lunch. I want to start, I'm going to talk to you about where we are in cloud. Talking about journeys, there's been references to beginning the journey, but cloud's not new, so where are we? And I want to just start with, how many of you, raise your hands, are actively working on projects in a public cloud? Any public cloud? Raise your hands. Okay. All right, good. That helps me calibrate then. The material I'm going to share with you and the findings that I'm going to share with you come largely from a survey that we did during September with IBM. And the purpose of the survey was to determine where are we in public cloud. IBM and Forrester both had a hypothesis based on conversations that we are entering a new era, and we wanted to know more about that era. So the survey results come from 200 people like yourselves, large corporations, US, France, Germany, UK, and Latin America. So it's a cool data set, I think you'll agree. So where are we? For those of you that are wondering when to get started, there's a lot of your colleagues and a lot of your competitors that have already started. In fact, we're entering the second wave of adoption of cloud. If you haven't started yet, if you're early in your adoption, this is extremely good news, because it means that there are a lot of people out there that have taken the arrows in their backs, a lot of pioneers out there that have taken the arrows in their backs. And there's actually a lot of expertise available to help create a strategy, implement a strategy, and start to really use cloud to take advantage of cloud for your business. So, but we are entering a second wave of adoption. The first wave started, in my sort of estimation, the first wave started around 2006. This was when the first major public cloud platform appeared on the scene. That would be Amazon Web Services. And there was a adoption that started at that point. People started to do a variety of applications, different things, we're proving it out. What we're seeing now is a second wave of adoption that brings in way more companies, including financial services companies, believe it or not, that have very, very strict compliance and security and privacy requirements that they have to deal with. It's, in my mind, as Mary said, get started. This is the next platform. I'm not doubting this anymore. This is the next platform for all of us. So let's look inside these waves, because the survey results really gave us some good insight into how people are adopting, and once they get started, where they go next and kind of where they're finding value. So there's really 3 tracks of adoption within the cloud movement. The green, represented by the green bubbles there, is a track that starts with what we at Forrester, many in the industry, called systems of engagement. So these are web applications that you would use to connect with your customers, provide them with service, etc. Mobile apps, a lot of mobile apps out there, tons of mobile apps that rely on cloud as part of their infrastructure and part of how they're built. And then these days we're seeing people going one step further to omni-channel apps. So these are apps that allow you to connect with, win, serve, retain customers through whatever channel, whether it's a store, or whether it's a mobile app, or a website, or a kiosk, or a partner website, whatever channel, and the experience is consistent and powerful. So systems of engagement is really where cloud adoption started, as you can see. Now, there was a natural bridge that occurred when people started to get into systems of engagement, very closely associated with selling. And so the next thing you saw was people starting to adopt cloud applications and platforms to automate and further their selling processes. This is what made Salesforce. Salesforce is a CRM company, but the core of that adoption was sales automation, pipeline management, opportunity management, etc. And when you start that journey, start to automate sales, there's like this gravitational pull into automating your broader set of customer information. And you get into CRM. So then you're working with your customer files, support, marketing, other functions that are associated with CRM. And in doing so, you've just made a leap. You've gone from systems of engagement through sales to records, transactional records, systems of record. So that is the orange, represented by the orange bubbles here. Back in 2008 or so, when we were seeing cloud adoption really start to take off, the conventional wisdom was we will never bring our systems of record to public clouds. Not so true anymore. A lot of people are. The third wave, the third sort of track is insight, is analytics, reporting, insights. Earlier on, Steve was talking about using cloud to connect all of the information that's relevant to business process, including real-time information about what's going on with your customers or what's going on in the environment. It's raining today, so we're going to put out umbrellas, that sort of thing. This is really what we mean by, this is really what's encompassed by what we call here systems of insight. And so the second wave, the first wave was established by systems of engagement, and the next wave, the second wave, is really being driven by dramatic expansion of analytics, including real-time and Internet of Things, which you've heard about earlier, and systems of record, big time. So I'll use some of these terms. I wanted you to understand what they meant as I go through the presentation. Just remember, systems of engagement, how I engage with my customers; insight, how I do analysis of my customers and their environment and of my business; and systems of record, where I keep my transactional information, my records about the business. Now, the survey gives us, the survey results give us, we reached this conclusion based on those results, but they give us some insights into how people are pursuing this second wave of adoption. And no surprise here, it's all about the customer. So we asked folks, this question that you see up here about which applications they've built, deployed, or run in the cloud. And you can see the preponderance of customer-focused investments in this result set. Customer management, analytics, customer-facing web applications, mobile applications, and arguably financial management is closely associated with these, because if you get in, once you get into customer engagement, you're into pricing, you're into discounting, you're into other kind of financial management functions, and it's a slippery slope before you start, as I showed in that earlier. So one set of ideas here, or one idea here, when you're wondering about where to get started and where to find value, your peers are finding value by focusing on their customers. And actually at Forrester, we think this is what we all ought to be doing as our top priorities, is applying technology, analytics, to understand, win, serve, and retain our customers better than we have before. So it all starts with the customer, and then you can follow that track. You can follow those tracks through analytics and systems of record. Now, why do people start here with customers, and why is customer-focused IT and customer-focused technology so important? And why do they choose cloud for those applications? It's all about speed. It's all about, we heard from the panel earlier, continuous integration, continuous improvement. When you are applying technology to win, serve, and retain your customers, you are actually in a tussle with your customers. They've got tools, they've got information, they've got immediate access to all kinds of insight that puts them in a very powerful position, you know, relative to you, and so relative to all of us. So, you know, they move very quickly, and tastes change on a dime. You know, we're in New York here, so home of the New York Minute, and we're all Americans, so you know, instant gratification isn't fast enough for us. That kind of thing goes on. So you need to constantly be producing better insights, updates to your apps, new campaigns, etc. And cloud, it turned out, because the cloud eliminated so many of the deployment issues that Angel referred to. You know, for example, you can just establish an account and start working for a very, very low cost and start proving out ideas. So cloud became very quickly the preferred environment for these applications. And you know, the chart here portrays more of a sort of a historical view. You can literally trace the cycle times for application delivery, you know, over the last 30, 40 years. And they've constantly dropped to now some consumer, you know, real intensive consumer-oriented businesses, you know, are delivering new apps, new functions in a matter of days. Sometimes new policies, new automated policies within a day, which was just unheard of, you know, not too long ago. So it's about speed. It's about responsiveness to the customers. That's thing one. Which takes us into customers. But speed's not the only thing. One of the findings that we found, one of the findings from this survey was that although rapid delivery and quick delivery and responsive delivery of applications is the top priority, that doesn't mean we get a pass on security. It doesn't mean we get a hall pass for manageability. It doesn't mean we get a pass on costs over time. It's actually, we actually have to do all of these things. These results say to me, you know, that the top two in my mind are ways of speeding application delivery, but then maintaining control of data security and privacy is right up there. We can't sacrifice on that. A couple of comments here. I was really surprised at the top choice here. My audience is application developers, and I you know, live and breathe that. I love developers, and we hear a lot about infrastructure and cloud and all that. Well, here we see the top value is give me a platform, give me a vendor that gives me application services, not just infrastructure. You know, application services for you know, for analyzing data, for you know, creating mobile apps, for you know, give me data sets, and then give me data sets. This is really different. This is I think a recognition of the value of higher level services you know, for the goal of achieving speed. And then the second one is all about scale, which scale can be really difficult. Scalability can be really difficult. People are looking for ways to make that, looking at cloud to make that really a lot easier. Security and privacy, again, is very important, but personally I've seen in the conversations I've been having with clients the last 9 months, a real shift in that, a real shift from, well, the public clouds, we're not sure they're ever going to be secure, and you know, we're not sure we can ever maintain privacy. And I think all the headlines from Target and the US government and various other places have finally had their effect, because now the attitude is, I will never be as secure as plug in your public cloud vendor name, whether it's IBM or AWS or whoever. There's a real attitude shift here, real sort of recognition that security and privacy is really hard, it's a moving target, and we just don't, as a company, we just don't have the wherewithal to ever be, you know, ever maintain that. So anyway, it's important, but there's a lot of confidence that that the cloud providers are actually going to be you know, highly secure. So I mentioned systems of record, and there's a set of findings here that that address the importance of systems of record, and I think really led to our conclusion that this was a driving force for the next wave of cloud. So a couple of findings. One is that 38% of the respondents had already deployed systems of record applications to the cloud, meaning public clouds. 38%. And you can see this group actually has deployed systems of insight and systems of engagement as well. So guys, it's already happening. That old saw about systems of record will never go to the cloud, it's already happening. It's probably focused on CRM and customer records, but it's already happening. And there's a lot more coming. So when we asked them, will your organization increase the systems of record that it brings to the cloud, 89, 90% said yes. There's a lot more coming here because, and to me it's think of those tracks. You start with systems of engagement, it leads you into systems of record. And it also plays to this, this two-speed IT idea that we heard earlier. The idea that only systems of engagement will be fast, will be responsive, I think is just nonsense. We need all of our applications to be responsive, even systems of record. And so this finding, I think, reflects what I've been seeing anecdotally, where people say, I want that same responsiveness for my back office. We need it for my back office. And so people are starting to act on that. And boy, there's a lot of revenue there. There's a lot of spending there that I think we're gonna see driving the next wave. Now we also asked people a lot about the public cloud because frankly that's really where the action is right now. But we also asked them about their plans for private internal clouds. So in IBM's product set, this would be Bluemix Local. This if you do a or Blue Box if you do a local OpenStack kind of based cloud. So we asked them, first of all, do you expect that you'll implement a private internal cloud? Obviously, yeah, it's coming. It's a big deal. There's a big expectation here that people are going, even if they're working in the public cloud, which all of these people are, that they're going to supplement that. They're going to go for an environment that a cloud-like environment or cloud environment in their data centers as well. So big movement there. But internal clouds raises some very special challenges. We heard about culture earlier. Couldn't agree with that more. Culture, metrics, talent, skills. There's a whole web of changes that we need to make there. But there's a couple of very specific issues that people run into when they go to implement internal private clouds. First is that if you're going to implement an internal private cloud, the way you're going to get benefit from that is that it's going to be a common facility for all of your development teams. You want all of that volume, all of that demand running on that internal cloud. That's how it's going to pay off. And so those development teams have all kinds of requirements. And keeping up with those requirements and keeping up with the changes that are needed in the infrastructure and the platform software to keep up with those requirements is really hard. Because again, people are moving fast. They're trying to deliver fast and be responsive. So the fact is that most teams have really a hard time delivering quickly, delivering changes to the platforms and infrastructures that they maintain in their data centers quickly. So in this group, 55% can deliver changes in 3 months or more. That's an eternity in cloud, particularly when you got multiple development teams. 3 months or more. And that's, by the way, there's a lot of those folks that are in the or more category. They're talking a year or 6 months. It's too long. There are some folks that are much more responsive. They can deliver changes in 4 weeks or less, which is pretty good. But it's the demands here are just unrelenting, particularly when you're dealing with multiple development teams. Let me give you an example. There's a big financial services company that we know of and have spent a lot of time with. They've built an internal cloud, and it's all Java-based. And their development teams are all working on Java. But they've recently discovered the glories of Node, server-side JavaScript. And they want Node. So this team now that runs this internal cloud has gone into a cycle to figure out how they introduce it. This is a really important update for these teams. How they introduce it, how they fund it, on and on and on. I'll tell you, it's taken a lot more than 3 months to get that done. And in the meantime, the development teams are just waiting, or they're going to the public cloud perhaps. So don't underestimate this. It's a big deal, and the survey results show us just that, just how many folks have to really work hard on this and change what they're doing. The other thing that came out of this survey that I found interesting found useful and interesting about internal private clouds was the managers who filled out this survey seemed to know that they're going to have an issue. They're going to have to change a lot to be successful with internal private clouds. So we asked them what are the biggest barriers to implementing private internal clouds. Top of the list is ongoing management. They recognize that managing the care and feeding of that platform, new capabilities, patches and updates, etc., is something that they really is their biggest limitation. And then that even trumps implementation. A couple of years ago, we had a lot of people said, we just haven't been able to implement. I think the products are getting better, and so implementing is actually getting easier. But even that, can be a challenge. But the management point really jumped out at me, that people actually see how different this environment is and how it's going to affect the way that they operate. And you can see then drops down from there with lack of expertise, lack of features, etc. But as was said in the previous panel, and I agree, technology and products aren't really the problem here. It's really culture, organizational structures, metrics, and talent to some degree. Okay, so wrapping up in terms of what this means, what all this means. Thing one is, I don't think there should be any question that cloud is the next platform. It's just a question of how you go for it, and again, think customers, how you go for it, what's your balance of public, private, hybrid, what is your approach to hybrid. But cloud is the next platform. It is here to stay. The move is on. So, I think the results show that. The results also show that although customer is the focus of most of the adoption, even the adoption that drives into systems of record, we're branching out. We saw some of the folks moving into financial management. Some are moving into products, production and product management, producing products and goods and services, and so on. There were some others on the list that I didn't show that say, yeah, the move is on. Systems, all sorts of systems of record are going to cloud. And then lastly, internal private clouds are going to be a big part of this picture, and there's still a lot of implementation to go. But the limiting factor there is not the products, it's you. It's you and your tech teams and how they operate, how you measure them, and what sort of help they're able to get to make that transformation. So I completely agree with the conclusion of the last panel, that it's really the hard work here is really organizing ourselves and going through, designing our own transformations to take advantage of the benefits that cloud offers. And with that, I'll thank you. Here's my virtual business card. Be happy to hear your experiences. Be very delighted to hear your experiences. About your experiences, if you want to contact me, please do so. And I hope this has been helpful. I'll be around the rest of the day if you have any questions. Thanks very much.